Anyway, this is Jonathan Moore, as always, with the Hometown Historian channel. We are here today at a site that we have visited earlier. This is the Blauch Family Plot Cemetery, and we'll read that there shortly. This is one of those places that we visited very early on in the beginning of the channel. At that time, I was doing specialized videos for the Facebook page. I also have the Instagram page that I do all the photography and that type of stuff for the channel, and then of course the YouTube channel, which we're all fond of. But hopefully here in the near future I'll start doing that again. If you're not a follower on the Facebook page, and you can do that, check it out. I'll have different information on there at different times. Excuse me. And at some point I do want to start having content that's specifically going to be on. It'll be very short videos, that type of stuff, because I don't really want to do TikTok, and the YouTube short is a pain. A lot of times you do it and you're supposed to be the right length, and it's like, oh, sorry, this is not a YouTube short, it does not feed our criteria. So I just gave up on that. I think it'd be cool if I could figure it out. It'd be cool to be able to do that at some point, and I think it's another avenue to grow the channel. The Instagram, check it out. I want to start passing the photography over to the Facebook page, and a shameless dig here for the channel. If you do have a YouTube account, if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please subscribe, hit like on the videos. There's a little bell notification symbol that's right next to the subscribe. Hit that. You can personalize your notifications if you want to be notified for every single video, or however you want to be notified. It just helps the channel grow. It helps the channel to become more visual. YouTube will look at their algorithms and say, okay, this channel is getting a lot of interaction, let's start promoting those videos. And it just helps the channel grow. It helps it to get closer to that 1,000, which will allow the channel to be able to do a lot more. But anyways, the reason we're here is for the Blauch Family Plot, this cemetery. I actually have just recently, I've talked about Jared. He's a gentleman that he's a historian, really knows his stuff, like really knows his stuff. It was just exciting conversation that we had. He's the one that's behind this awesome new technology that really hasn't been looked at. It's like a 4-dimensional map, which means it's like a layered map over time. So you'll have a 1700s map, and over top of that would be like, say, an 1800s map, and 1900s, so on. And then you can look at where things were, when they were, who was there, town names over time, because I'll give like the main names that that are aware of in history, but sometimes there's 3 or 4 other names to that town that it had at some point in its history. It might have been from early settlement days or whatever it might be, but just, it's an extraordinary idea. I'm really looking forward to seeing it, and Jared's our first conversation was phenomenal. I'm looking forward to the next one, and be able to get in contact with other local historians, which will be great for everybody to be able to interact more with these historical societies and individuals who have an extraordinary amount of knowledge, that we can put that out here in this medium, that it can be out there for people to check out and find out about some of this awesome history that we have locally, our hometown history. So with it, I'm going to turn the camera around. We're going to check out this monument, and this Blauch Family Cemetery. These are Jared's ancestors. So we had talked about this cemetery in particular, and the cool connection with St. John's Evangelical Congregational Church is, I would assume maybe their grandson, David Blauch, he wound up being one of the founding members of that church. So it's a really cool, and one of the church members actually has his journal, which, a lot of it's planted a field today, lit the fire for the church, for the revival services, in winter or something like that. You didn't really have me and Abraham Lincoln went out and fought zombie robots, or anything like that, but it's a day-to-day look into what life was like in the 1840s, 1850s, and it's really cool that this gentleman has this, and just extraordinary to just see what day-to-day life was in, like Steelstown, early Steelstown. So with that, I'm going to turn the camera around, and we're going to talk about this cemetery. We'll view the stones that are here on Find a Grave. It only has 3 graves. but I believe there are more here. It's just, you know, because there's more than I think 3 stones, which we'll look in if I remember correctly. But let's turn this around. Okay, so this was erected, this particular monument was erected by the Blauch family reunion of 1940 and dedicated to the memory of John Blauch, who is buried here. That's one of them that's on the Find a Grave app. He died in 1765, and then Christian Blauch, who died in 1786. They came from Bern, Switzerland in 1750 and settled in this vicinity and were buried here. So Christian Blauch is not listed on the Find a Grave. And as you can see here, here's a couple smaller ones and then 3 bigger ones. So there's at least 5 people that are buried here. I believe this one here, it definitely says Blauch. I know that was one thing that was difficult here when we came here before, that I think this is the John Blauch, because that looks like Johann Blauch there, the first name. That one says 1769 now, so I'm not sure, but they are both buried here. And it's just an extraordinary amount of history. You know, these were these small family plots that were so essential because, you know, they didn't, you know, in the 1700s, there were churches here and there, of course, but that was more so in the general region of towns, usually, that type of thing. But very, very neat that the Blauch family did this to remember their ancestors who, you know, these were the first settlers of this area, the first immigrants of this family. And from that came the Blauch family. And there are many different spellings, and it's cool, like if you're over in the, when we visited St. John's, the amount of Blauchs that were there, because they were in essence one of the major founding families of that church and have had such an intricate role in that church through its history. I believe that started in 1850s, I believe, like 1852 or something like that. And they went through a time period as well when you had the breaking of the Evangelical Association Church. They actually lost their church building for a while. Now for them, it was a little bit easier for them to get their church back. Most of them, though, they really had, there was a lot of bad feelings. So a lot of times they didn't get their churches back. It was really sad, but and that was part of the reason they wound out buying a church, so they never were in that position again where they would lose their church building. But with it, that's a little bit of history. The Blauch family did a lot more. Certainly, I'm sure Jared can add a ton to that. But this is just another one of these founding families of this area in the Lebanon Valley that moved here from Switzerland for whatever reason, whether it was religious freedom or just looking for a new start, looking for opportunity, whatever it might be. They came here with hope. And because of their hope, because of their courage, because of their tenacity to take on, you know, this was the frontier land, and it was a rough time. You know, without them doing what they did and making the sacrifices that they did, we wouldn't enjoy the country that we have today. I mean, it's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful country. I wouldn't have Chuck. But it really is extraordinary, and I'm not diminishing history at all, but it's really is just so cool finding these old cemeteries. A lot of them, they're very hard to get to. Here's one that you can actually have access to and actually have a monument talking about their forebears and the legacy that they left, you know, the heritage that they left for their family. So with that, I will say thank you for coming along on another adventure looking for this hometown history. And as always, we will see you all about town.